Lenny Rudow here for BoatUS magazine, and today we're going to talk about topwater lures. First off, let's talk a bit about the difference between saltwater and freshwater topwater lures. They're more or less the same, other than perhaps size. Saltwater tends to be a little bigger, and the hooks and the split rings on freshwater lures may corrode in saltwater. So other than that, there's not a whole lot that's different, but when you buy a lure, if you're going to be using it in saltwater, you want to be sure, of course, that the hooks and the split rings will hold up. Now, there are lots and lots of different topwaters to choose from, but they all fall into two basic categories. First off, you have your walkers, like this guy and this guy, and they have a rounded face to them. Then you also have your poppers, like this guy. He's got a concave face. And there's another kind of a popper. Now, the big difference to keep in mind is, in calm water situations, the walker is generally the way to go. When it's really rough out, the popper creates a lot of commotion on the water's surface. That helps draw fish in. But you gotta remember, if it's super calm, a popper can actually make enough of a ruckus to spook the fish. Now, pretty much all these, you probably heard, have rattles inside. That helps to attract the fish. And some days different rattles attract them better or worse than others, so it's important to change it up and try different stuff. You also want to pay attention to the hooks on a lure. These treble hooks, well, these are really good at snagging fish, but they're also good at snagging body parts and clothing. On top of that, they're really hard on the fish, so if you might be catching and releasing, it really is a good idea to switch those treble hooks out for single hooks, like these. Now, let's say you're going after really big, aggressive fish. You want to watch for how the hooks are attached to the lure. With a lure like this is actually screwed in. Now, that's just fine if you're catching 10-pound stripers, but if you're catching 50-pounders, or if you're trying to catch tuna fish, they will demolish this plug. You need to get one that has a through wire, which runs from the eye of the plug down through and to the eye that holds the hook. That, even if the tuna fish destroys this plug, you'll still catch it. They'll still be hooked up. Now, what about color? Well, the most important thing is always matching the hatch, right? Providing the fish with something that looks like the prey species it's already feeding on. And if you look at most bait fish from underneath, they have a white belly. So that white belly on the bottom of the lure is really a critical feature. Now, what about all that colorful stuff on the back of the lure? Well, let's be honest, people. That's really made to sell the lure to you, the angler, not so much the fish. This will actually be out of the water most of the time this lure is being used. The fish honestly won't even see it. One exception, you have to remember that in the darkness, if you're actually night fishing, the color black can be very effective. It creates a silhouette from above, the fish can see it. So sometimes if you're fishing at night, you might want to have a plug on hand that has black underneath. Now let's talk a little bit about how to actually use these lures. This here is a walker, and what I'm going to do with this is cast it out, and after it hits the water, I'm going to get all the slack out of the line, get my rod tip low so the lure doesn't jump out of the water, and just pump it as fast as I can. Just fast little pumps, little twitches. And what that's doing is I'm making that lure zig and zag back and forth through the water. You get that little zigzag motion, those rattles inside are clicking and clacking, and that looks like an injured bait fish. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Topwater fishing is a lot of fun, and it's not always the most effective way to catch a fish, but boy, when they strike, it is exciting. Even little guys like this are an absolute thrill to catch. Now, let's cut this guy off and take a look at how to work a popper. It is a little bit different, not a whole big bunch different, but while we're talking about working lures, this is the perfect time to discuss what to do if a fish strikes and misses, because that happens a lot with topwater. It's a very common event. Now, there's a big disagreement in the fishing world over this. Some people say you should stop, pause, let the lure float there for a few seconds. Some other people say, keep it moving. Keep that fish thinking that it's a bait fish trying to flee. Who's right? Well, everybody and nobody. Sometimes it works to pause, sometimes it works to keep going. And you can find anglers of all kinds who disagree on that question and both catch fish. And that, people, is one of the beautiful things about fishing. There's not necessarily a right and a wrong. There's just what worked today and what works tomorrow. When you're working the chugger, it's a little different. You don't necessarily set up that rhythmic pumping of the rod tip. It's more of a pop, pop, pause, pop, pop, pause, pop, pop, pause. And you can see the lure is still getting a little bit of zigzag action. You can also see it's making a lot of splash, a lot of commotion. You combine that with those rattles, and on a rough day when there's a lot of background noise under the water, a lot of vibrations traveling throughout the water, this thing will call in the fish from afar. Well, folks, I hope you found this video helpful. Please don't forget to click below and subscribe to the BoatUS channel so you don't miss any future videos. And I hope the next time you try topwater, you catch them up.